What is up, guys? So today, this video is kind of off the top of my head. I had a client recently ask me if I'm still doing a ketogenic diet because I had made videos about it in the past and if I would recommend it for him. So I'm going to get into all that today. Now, before I do, I would love anybody who's watching this channel, if you've seen other videos that you've liked or you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and please share it with others. You know, as I've come to learn more about YouTube, I've seen how important that is. So it really helps the channel. I really appreciate it if you can do that. So for me, what have I been doing? So many of you, if you follow me on Instagram at Dave_McConey, you might know that I am dieting, and I've been dieting since February. So mid-February, I started dieting. I was 205 pounds, and I've since gotten down to about 185, so about 20 pounds in that time. And it's been a good rate of weight loss, and that's including about 4 weeks where I was basically doing diet breaks throughout that. It was like a 3-week period and then a 1-week period more recently. So I started off with just a traditional diet, started going down, stalled for a little while, and then have since switched to a ketogenic diet. Now, if you've seen my other videos on a ketogenic diet, you know that I don't think ketogenic diet is anything magical or anything particularly special for most people. However, the reason I want to mention it here is because I'm actually doing a carnivore diet right now. And you know, the second you hear that, I'm sure if you're like me, you'd be rolling your eyes thinking like, why is he doing that? Is it a fad diet? I think for the most part, it is kind of a fad diet. I'm doing it really just to experiment because I just want to see. I don't think it's going to be overly harmful on the short-term basis. I would not feel comfortable recommending it long-term. If you watch the podcast and you've seen me with Dr. Sean Baker, then you know even on there I kind of disagree with some of the stuff he said, but I think it's viable to try out. I actually I've had a former client and a current client who have been on or have tried carnivore diet themselves. And it's interesting because a lot of people say that they feel great on it. I think a big part of it is people lose weight on it. It's going to increase satiety for a lot of people. But I will say that in doing it, I guess I'll just give my explanation of what happened. So I was kind of stalled and I just wanted to lose the weight just psychologically to see the weight loss, even though I knew I was probably losing fat. And like right away on carnivore, of course, I was losing a lot of weight because you have less food bulk, right? You're not eating like vegetables and fibers and things like that. You are eating no carbs, so you're going to have glycogen depletion, you're going to lose water weight. So almost right away, and when you go into ketosis, there are mechanisms by which you excrete water aside from just the glycogen. So I noticed significant weight loss, and actually since then I've continued to lose weight, and it's been great. My strength has been great, and I'm actually going to do blood work in about a week from now, where I'm going to be testing my cholesterol, my CRP, which is an inflammation marker, omega-3, omega-6, some vitamins, a few other tests, and I will include all of those in another video. I'm using LetsGetChecked for that, so I have links down below, as I've mentioned in another video. Anybody who wants to get their testosterone checked, vitamin, different hormone panels, you can get that checked on LetsGetChecked.com. And again, I will give a link for a 30% discount. It's Brains is the discount on there, so feel free to use that. It does benefit me as well, so that's always appreciated, of course. So anyway, I noticed that I've been feeling good, but what I will say, compared to just meat and vegetables, I am very hungry. So if you're controlling for calories and you're just eating meat versus meat and vegetables, you're probably going to be hungrier on a carnivore diet. I would say if you're talking about most palatable, getting the most calories and wanting the most calories, of course, you're going to talk about maybe a standard American diet. You're going to be talking about a lot of sugars and fats combined. I think we all know what those foods are, and that's going to really leave you the most hungry, right? But then from there, I would actually say carnivore would be maybe more in the middle, where yeah, I'm probably into ketosis. I actually just got more ketone strips so I can measure, and I'll include those as well. I'll probably start posting a little bit of that on Instagram. I am in ketosis, but in low level of ketosis. So I just got it today, and I'm at 0.7 millimolars. So that is a very low level of nutritional ketosis. I've been going to experiment with some BHB, that's basically external ketone salts, and I'll get into a little bit more of why I'm doing that as well. But as far as the results go for the cut, yeah, it's going great. My strength is great. My weight is down quite a bit. I feel pretty good. One of the main reasons that I did this is for people who've been following this channel for a while know that I have pretty significant GI issues. And I have found that diet makes a dramatic difference for me. The biggest difference by far is just a calorie surplus versus a calorie deficit. So if I'm bulking up, honestly, I can't really do it anymore. I mean, literally, like just physically, I run into some serious medical issues if I do that. Whereas like within a month of cutting, dramatic improvement. I mean, seriously dramatic improvement. Even eating, traditional bodybuilding foods and, some cheat foods, I really didn't have too much of an issue. But then next step further, ketogenic diet, carnivore, if you look up SCD, specific carbohydrate diet, there is a difference that I notice, and my blood work has shown that as well with lower inflammatory markers. So I do see a benefit from that. And so for me right now, that's really important to me. And so I'm kind of testing that out. Otherwise, I don't love doing keto, and I really don't love doing carnivore. It's not that the food isn't good. It's fine. But I mean, why wouldn't I want to eat other food? I love fruits. I love vegetables. I love, adding things like when you're dieting. Think about when you're so hungry dieting, to be able to have sugar-free gums, jellos, sodas, Walden Farms, just things that help you get through a diet. You don't get any of that. So on a carnivore diet, I mean, I literally eat 8 ounces of meat, 8 ounces of meat, and 8 ounces of meat. It kind of sucks, right? But the results have been good. But I'm definitely not somebody who thinks like, you got to do this. If you can get great results without it, that's awesome. I'm largely testing this out for my GI, and a side benefit almost is the benefit with cutting. So I do want to mention, like I said, I'm going to get blood work. I will post that. I'm experimenting a little bit with the idea of ketosis itself. I think for fat loss, it almost doesn't matter at all. Yes, there's some evidence out there to show that it might help with fat loss, but really, when you compare keto diets to just like a higher carb diet, it doesn't really seem like there's any benefit for fat loss. It largely comes down to calories. However, I am interested in the anti-inflammatory effects, particularly of beta-hydroxybutyrate. Again, I think it's somewhat speculative at this point, but there are some good studies out there. I think Dom D'Agostino is a great guy to follow. So for my personal issues, I want to try experimenting with the exogenous ketones and seeing how that affects, obviously, my ketone levels, but how I feel from an inflammatory standpoint. So I'm really interested to try that as well. You do hear a lot of people with autoimmune issues talking about how they feel so much better. Now, do they feel better because they dropped certain foods, or do they feel better because there's something actually going on with keto or carnivore? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think a lot of those people would probably still feel better even if they included some other foods, but I do know people who have reached out to me directly saying, I really felt horrible until I went keto, or I really felt horrible, and like trying things along the way. So it is individual. I really don't think the science is there at this point to say definitively one way or the other, but I just have seen hundreds of anecdotes over the years of people going to a keto type diet and feeling a lot better, autoimmune conditions being more controlled. So for me, it's something that I would like to experiment and look into. And I have looked into it quite a bit in the past, and that's why I say I think there is some evidence for it, and I've personally noticed benefits from it as well. So if it's something that you're interested in, I would say I have a decent background in the ketogenic diet. From the time I was in high school, actually, I wrote a paper on the ketogenic diet for like a 11th grade bio class. It's something that I experimented with in high school. I had read all through Lyle McDonald's book. I've read many studies on it. I've seen pretty much everything Dom D'Agostino has put out there. I've read a lot as far as like the actual literature goes, and it's something that I think is interesting. So if you have questions, feel free to post them down below. If you want to reach out to me on email, I usually have that either in the link down below. You can find it on my website or on Instagram. But if you're thinking about trying it, make sure you know what you're doing. I don't typically recommend what a lot of people talk about, where they do a ketogenic diet and all of a sudden it's, all the butter in the world and coconut oil on everything, and now I've got these Quest bars and keto cookies and everything. A lot of the benefit, a lot of what I think people are benefiting from is the fact that you have higher satiety for a lot of people, that you're just less interested in food because you're cutting out an entire food group, and therefore you eat less. And I know countless people who say, no, I'm eating so much more on the ketogenic diet. It's unlikely that you are, especially if you're losing weight. Some people, though, do gain weight on a ketogenic diet because we have so many of these keto foods now, right? So there's Quest bars, there's keto cookies, there's so many. Literally, in the last few weeks that I've been kind of re-going through all the keto literature, I have gotten constant ads for these keto bars and keto ketones and MCT oils. Like literally every ad I'm getting is now related to keto, just within like the last 2 weeks. So there's so many foods out there now that are hyper palatable, which was one of the benefits of keto before, is that the foods weren't typically hyper palatable. So now people are having issues losing weight because they're having too much of that. So if you're going to try keto, I would recommend a healthier approach to it. I would not be having, deep fried everything and butter on everything. I would stick to whole foods. I would stick to meats, fatty fish, fatty beefs are fine. Vegetables as kind of like a carrier for the fat. Still, like I said, some sort of fish or fish oil. I think you can stick with largely healthy fats for the most part. Avocados, some cheeses, olive oil, and all of that. I did notice a significant improvement in my blood work when I had done keto with healthier variations of fat compared to keto of like all animal fats and added oils and stuff like that, like literally like lard and things like that. I tried both extremes. Blood work was significantly better with the healthier versions, like I said, avocado and olive oil and fish. So that's what I would recommend. So anyway, guys, I will provide updates. This is not something that I plan to do, or I hope, and in one sense, it's like, I hope that it works great so that my GI issues are under control. In another sense, I'm like, I almost don't want to, in the sense, I mean, not really, but it's like, if it works for me, it's like, you almost need to stay on it because, okay, now you have something that works. And I love carbs. I really do love carbs. So, of course, I do want it to work for me. I want to feel the benefits of it. But I would definitely like to get to a point where I am reintroducing carbs. And I'm sure I will. This is not like me all of a sudden becoming a keto guy forever. It's something that I've done many times before, and I'm experimenting with further to get more data that I will share with you guys. So I wanted to post about this. I wanted to talk about it. Feel free to post questions down below. Always happy to talk about this stuff. And again, thumbs up is always appreciated. Sharing is always appreciated. Talk to you guys in the next video.